Today on the Morning Edition, severe weather over the weekend raises concerns in southeast, especially around Juneau, with flooding concerns and landslide risks. Then Senator Dan Sullivan, along with Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-Deremer, visited Fairbanks to discuss the pipeline and the future there, along with their long-term goals to bring more jobs and families to Alaska. And later, a boy at school receives an award for patience and was surprised at the ceremony with a very emotional moment. We'll take a look at that as the Morning Edition starts right now. Good Monday morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us today. Can never get enough of those sweet surprises.
And patience, it's a virtue. I forgot the name of that TV show growing up. I think it was on like PBS Kids or something, and it dealt with like the different virtues that one can have. I may be thinking of another show, I don't know, but patience is a virtue, and apparently he has it.
It sure is. Well, Aaron, Southeast again is dealing with some concerning weather.
Yeah, we're going to continue to hold on to more heavy rain as well as some gusty conditions out towards Southeast. We'll get to that here within the next few seconds. Now, here across South Central, we are waking up to some light rain showers. Those temperatures sitting in the upper 40s. We are beginning to tap into some cooler weather across the state, more so for areas to the north as you head through the interior and areas out west. We still have some light rain showers across South Central. That's occurring this morning. Not going to be an overly wet day, but we are going to continue to keep at least some scattered activity in the forecast throughout the day. And then as you head out towards Southeast, we've got that area of low pressure that's nestled right up against the eastern Gulf of Alaska and areas of Southeast, and that will keep gusty winds as well as some heavy rain in the forecast. In fact, that not only are we dealing with a flood watch out towards Juneau, but we've got several areas that remains up under a high wind warning through this afternoon for some locations and then into the evening for the rest of the region. And we're expecting to see gusts up to 60 miles per hour. This, in addition to those ongoing heavy rainfall events, will lead to that possibility that we will see some landslides across portions of Southeast. And then looking ahead so far today, since midnight, we've already seen upwards of an inch of rain out towards Ketchikan. Elsewhere, we've seen anywhere from about 2/10 of an inch of rain to nearly 3/4 of an inch as you head out towards Petersburg. So rain hasn't been as heavy through the night, but we are going to pick up additional inches of rain here over the next couple of days. Now, into the evening, we could see some localized areas picking up 1 to 1.5 inches of rain. Even heavier rain arrives overnight into our Tuesday, where we could see some locations top out near 3 additional inches of rainfall. In addition to that, as we close out September and welcome in October, we'll continue to favor these wet conditions for Southeast and portions of the eastern interior out towards the slope. While here in South Central, out towards areas of Bristol Bay and the Alaska Peninsula, we will tilt towards drier weather. With that said, some rain is still in the forecast. I'll have more on that in that 7-day forecast coming up.
In today's top story, heavy rain and wind are causing concerns in Southeast. Over the weekend, Wrangell issued a public service announcement about increased landslide risk. In Juneau, the city and borough is asking people to remain safe as heavy rainfall continues to pour, causing flooding and landslide concerns. Small landslides were reported in the Auk Lake area. There's elevated water around Montana Creek. These photos show the weather conditions are leaving. The city and borough has its incident management team on standby and reached out to the Red Cross, and leaders say they're monitoring the situation.
And while we have not officially requested that they open up an emergency shelter, they are on standby and prepared to do that very quickly should there be a need for anyone to evacuate their homes.
And in Ketchikan, the city reopened the 3rd Avenue bypass road after heavy rain caused flash flooding recently. The town saw a deadly landslide about a year ago in the area of the bypass. Now the city is continuing to monitor the situation as heavy winds are expected to swing into the region. The city of Ketchikan fire chief says the combo can be a dangerous mixture.
They have already saturated ground. The wind could start to move those trees over and allow the footing and the ground to become loose and allow a landslide to potentially happen.
Turning now to Adelmi Ruiz, joining us now from the newsroom with developing local and regional headlines. Adelmi.
Kristen, the search for a missing Anchorage man has ended in tragedy. Troopers say Carl DeGrosse, who disappeared September 8th after leaving for a fishing trip to Valdez, was found dead in his car near Chitina. The Department of Public Safety reports he had a self-inflicted wound. The case remains under investigation. The DeGrosse family says they are heartbroken and that Carl will be deeply missed. The U.S. Secretary of Labor was in Fairbanks Friday, joined by Senator Dan Sullivan. The subject, economic opportunities in Alaska. Secretary Lori Chavez-Deremer is touring all 50 states and made a stop at the Fairbanks Pipeline Training Center. She and Sullivan praised the center for its role in preparing the next generation of workers to support oil and gas development on the North Slope.
Billions of dollars of military, Coast Guard, and Department of Transportation infrastructure all coming to our state. It's not being talked about anymore, it's coming. So that's exciting, but what do we need? We need a strong, skilled workforce.
And what's the ultimate goal? 10,000 new jobs for Alaska.
Yeah.
10,000 new families who can live here. The investment into the workforce that we can continue down the road.
According to Sullivan, Chavez-Deremer is the 9th cabinet official to visit Alaska since June. And test results are showing meaningful growth across the Fairbanks School District. That's according to Superintendent Luke Meinert, who reported better testing scores at Tuesday's meeting of the local school board. While details are sparse, Alaska has released the results of spring testing. Meinert says the district is seeing gains in math and reading for the second year in a row.
Fewer students needing intensive support and more students are meeting grade level expectations. These gains reflect the commitment of our educators and the perseverance of our students and the ongoing engagement of our families. And so thank you to those families that talk with their students about the importance of these exams.
That was part of what the superintendent had to say at the school board meeting. More details on the results are expected at the October 7th meeting. The superintendent's office has declined a one-on-one interview with Alaska's news source at this time. Kristen?
All right, thanks, Adelmi. A resolution introduced by Congressman Nick Begich is causing outcry for some Alaskans in the interior. Justin Mattson breaks down why the resolution is drawing concern from some and praise from others.
The Central Yukon Management Plan covers nearly 13.3 million square acres, dictating how that land in interior Alaska is used.
It covers, wildlife protections, it covers resource management, it covers recreation, hunting, camping, all the different ways that we use these lands here in this area.
Over more than a decade, tribal and industry leaders with members of the public worked on a land management goal that would appease all.
It took 13 years for that work to be done, and a lot of science, and it's very important to our people, my people, our subsistence way of life, our traditional and cultural activities. It affects all of that.
Detractors of the resolution say that they're concerned that an agreed upon plan could be overturned.
If we come to a compromise with industry and thousands of other people involved and that live in this area, and we come to a compromise that takes in all viewpoints and we come up with a plan, what's the point of doing that if it's going to be overturned in this way?
To just sweep it away is kind of like taking a flamethrower to a campfire when you have a problem with it, and it's really tough on all the Alaskans in this area.
Local business owners believe this use of the Congressional Review Act will influence future management conversations.
The idea is that a similar plan can never be reenacted. So what's being done right now is not only just affecting these 13.3 million acres, this is setting a very dangerous precedent for resource management plans all over the country.
The resolution, introduced by Congressman Nick Begich, passed the House with Senators Murkowski and Sullivan in support. Representative Begich saying in part, quote, "With this resolution, we are restoring balance to federal land policy and ensuring that Alaska can responsibly contribute to America's energy and mineral independence." Senator Sullivan posted the following statement to Facebook in part, quote, "The House passed our bill to rescind the Biden admin's disastrous Central Yukon Resource Management Plan, a clear case of federal overreach that locks up Alaska's lands. But those affected still want answers."
What are you doing?
Justin Mattson, Alaska's news source.
The Senate is expected to vote on the resolution soon. If it passes, it will head to President Trump's desk for his signature.
They just don't want a guy like me to have that kind of a wildlife park in Alaska. And you want to make sure that I am an example, putting my head on a pike.
Animal cruelty charges have been filed in Haines. A longtime wildlife center operator is now facing felony and misdemeanor charges, even as he claims he's living overseas. Prosecutors say the case involves the deaths of several animals over the years and the seizure of dozens more earlier this summer. Steve Krischel is a name you may recall. The owner of the wildlife center says he remains in Russia. Joe Allgood spoke with Krischel and states that he disagrees with the charges being filed.
Oh my goodness.
The Russians see me as a hero, and the state of Alaska sees me as some kind of a villain that needs to be locked up and throw away the key.
Moose, fox, lynx, bears, and more all lived on Steve Krischel's property in Haines up until Fish and Game seized most of the animals in a raid earlier this summer.
I didn't know there were criminal charges that were going to be filed against me until after the raid in late June. I didn't even know there was going to be a raid. I thought I was going to be receiving my permit and open up to the public.
After the raid, Krischel moved to Russia, saying he's working on a documentary with a fellow animal enthusiast.
Russian grizzlies.
Krischel denies Fish and Game's claims, including that a porcupine, moose, brown bear, fox, and 2 wolves were mistreated under his care, saying that's exaggerated or completely false.
What the charging documents seem to allude to over and over again is that I couldn't afford to feed the animals quality feed. That is an outright lie.
Krischel also claims he didn't have trouble tending to the animals, as he had help from his son and a friend.
I don't have a big staff. It's because I don't need anybody. I know what I'm doing, and also it's dangerous to have a lot of people that, oh, yeah, they're going to try to handle a wolverine or that grizzly bear. They could get their arm ripped off.
And claims that he's been targeted by the Alaska Department of Fish and Game.
They're just pretending. They just don't want me around anymore. They want to make an example of me for anybody else in the state. Don't ever do what Krischel did.
Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
His arraignment is scheduled for October 8th, and most of the animals that were seized were relocated throughout the state. On Friday, Fish and Game said that they would be getting back with us today, so stay tuned for an update on that. Coming up, outdoor equipment and debris making a mess of moose antlers. Fish and Game officials are looking for a moose seen covered in electrical cords and asking for help finding it.
Wet and windy weather is still with us across the Gulf Coast region, even out towards areas of the Aleutians. I'll have more on that, but first, sunrise, 7:44 in Anchorage, 6:43 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
Welcome back on this Monday morning, Aaron. It has been a rainy few days, at least here in South Central.
Yeah, the good news is the first part of the weekend, we did manage to see some sunshine breaks, but that rain built in yesterday. We've still got some ongoing light rain showers this morning, and fall officially begins today, a little over 4 hours from now. It officially begins at 10:19 in the morning. Heavy rain continues for southeast, and of course, we got some gusty winds from the Aleutians out towards southeast, where winds could be anywhere from 60 to 70 miles per hour. So the autumnal equinox starts today at 10:19 a.m. We'll see that sunrise at 7:43 in the morning with a sunset of 7:59. So yes, we are going to continue to see decreasing daylight. Later this week, we'll see that 12 hours of daylight across the entire state. But as far as this morning, we continue to hold on to increasing rain out towards southeast, some lingering activity across south central, and of course into the interior. We are watching a chance for some rain showers that's going to stick around throughout the day, and any remaining moisture could lead to some localized areas of wintry mix for portions of the interior tonight into tomorrow. In fact, we'll keep with that occasional chance of seeing some wintry mix throughout the week as temperatures continue to cool across the state. Winds this morning out towards the Aleutians, gusting upwards of 40 miles per hour. We've seen some 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts out towards southeast. And of course, these two areas are where we're going to continue to favor those gusty conditions. Winds up to 70 miles per hour through portions of the Aleutians, while winds up to 60 miles per hour will be possible for southeast. Now, for areas of southwest Alaska and the Aleutians, those winds kind of taper off later today into the evening hours, and we'll catch a brief lull in the pattern, and then another low will approach from the western Aleutians, and this is going to lead to increasing winds once again as we welcome in our Tuesday afternoon on into Wednesday. So be prepared for a couple of days where we're going to hold on to these windy conditions. So ongoing rain across the Gulf Coast region, heavy activity out towards southeast remains. We've got this area of low pressure that's building into the western Aleutians. This is going to lead to increasing rain and winds, as well as the potential for some high surf as you head out towards the Bering Sea. And then you can see out towards southwest Alaska and areas of southeast and south central. We are going to continue to favor some increasing rainfall throughout the week, although south central we will see some dry time in the forecast. The heaviest rain here over the next couple of days will continue to take aim on southeast. This is where we could see another round of several inches of rainfall accumulation, so be prepared for some possible landslide concerns as we've been talking about this morning. Notice for areas of the western interior as you head out west, largely staying on the dry side. Biggest concern will be those gusty conditions. And then as you head out towards areas of the Brooks Range and along the slope, we're also going to see a chance for some light wintry mix, if not some snow, in the forecast. So cooler conditions beginning to build across the state. We got some chance for some showers lingering throughout the week across south central. Nothing significant, although if you live out towards the coast, you'll see that better chance for rain each and every day. We'll warm into the low to mid 50s later this afternoon. We are going to be chasing some cooler weather this week across south central. Notice those highs dropping down into the upper 40s and lower 50s as we close out this week. We'll also see some cooler conditions. This weekend, we're talking about the potential for overnight lows dropping into the mid to upper 30s, meaning we could see some localized areas of frost.
A young bull moose has been spotted near Campbell Lake with electrical cords tangled in his antlers. Fish and Game says it's concerned for his safety, and as Lauren Maxwell reports, they're asking for help locating him.
We've known about him for a little over a week now.
That's when neighbors first started noticing a young bull moose with antlers tangled up in something blue.
It's electrical cord, blue electrical cord that's dangling in his antlers, and he has it wrapped around both antlers.
The moose has been spotted near the Campbell Creek estuary at the end of Campbell Lake. Tony Ellison,
first thing I noticed was blue in his antlers,
has seen it twice.
So I got a quick picture, but he just ran right through. Didn't run. He walked right through, went up by the fence.
Which she sent to Fish and Game. Biologists say it's the time of year when things like this can happen. Male moose fight for dominance during the rutting season and rub their antlers on all sorts of things.
Soccer nets, electrical cords, swing sets, all sorts of random objects that we find them getting tangled up in.
Sometimes it's an issue, sometimes not. Fish and Game says the moose appears to be healthy, but the cords could be blocking his eyesight, which could be a problem if he tries to cross the road.
A high risk of getting hit by a car if he doesn't have that peripheral vision, so that's a safety risk for that moose.
It's why Fish and Game is in a hurry to find him.
If they could do something, that would be awesome.
And neighbors are hoping they do. Lauren Maxwell, Alaska's news source.
Fish and Game also says there have been reports of aggressive bull moose along Anchorage trails.
You can see the temperatures are changing and leaves are falling, but that's rutting season for the moose. And so these bulls are out getting into mischief. They're starting to fight and, establish dominance with one another. But that also means that they're rubbing up, usually outside of town, they're rubbing trees and brush, but there's all sorts of weird objects for them to rub their antlers and get them polished up and show their dominance to other males. And so soccer nets, electrical cords, swing sets, all sorts of random objects that we find them getting tangled up in this time of year during their mating season.
And here's video a viewer sent in of a moose in Alaska thrashing its antlers on a bush. Fish and Game says rutting season usually runs through October. Moose sometimes tell you if you're too close to them, but can still charge with no warning. Fish and Game says beware if its ears are pinned back, the hair on its neck is raised, or if it's licking its lips.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.